feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Stress, health issues, and age all have an effect on men, especially in the bedroom, and current treatments like pills that have side effects or the thought of expensive surgery are out of the question. Living Waters Regenerative Medical Center has a solution to get to the root of the problem. Dr. Viglione uses Gainswave, a sonic, non-invasive, drug-free solution for men suffering from ED. Get a free consultation about a non-surgical, non-prescription solution to your bedroom problem. Living Waters Regenerative Medical Center, ViglioneMD.com.
Hey, I just heard that people at my friend's company got sextortion emails.
Yeah, it's a popular type of spear phishing attack.
Wow, that sounds serious.
It is. Scammers claim to have a compromising video of the victim and threaten to share it with their contact list unless they pay a ransom.
What if they target someone at our company?
We're secured with Barracuda Sentinel. It uses artificial intelligence to block spear phishing attacks, including sextortion emails.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
If you're hitting 200 at the plate for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, life isn't that great. But if you're hitting up 200 before the Wahoos games, things can't get much better. 200 South is your Blue Wahoos pre-party destination. Grab an ice-cold draft with the best selection in town at World of Beer. Relax in the most hoppin' spot at Blend Lounge. Or grab a quick bite to eat at Graffiti Pizza or Taco Aguave before the game. 200 South Palafox in downtown Pensacola. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks are all right, but a slice and an ice-cold draft, now that's a home run.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website at ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And as we enter this Thursday, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of us here as we get ready to talk some football. Coach, coming up in just a little bit, Mike Vaccaro is going to be joining us. We were going to have him on a little earlier in the week, but some conflict there kind of came up, and we were lucky enough to be able to rescheduling for later on this week. So he's going to be joining us a little later on today. Going to be talking some football, maybe even a little baseball, as he does cover the New York Yankees there for the New York Post as well. So he'll be joining us a little later on in the show. But Coach, let's just dive right into it here and start off with some of the headlines from around the league. And one that called my attention was an article on the NFL.com's website, and they were basically talking about sleeper teams for the upcoming 2019 season. Coach, one of the teams that they mentioned was the Seattle Seahawks. And, you know, to me, Coach, I take a look at the Seattle Seahawks team, and they're going to be good. They've got talented players, yes, but they're also losing a lot of players. Let's not forget Doug Baldwin Jr. is not going to be playing this year, so that's a big hit for them in the passing game. They've also lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball. The guy that seemed to be their captain on the defensive side of the ball in all those years where they went to a couple of different Super Bowls, and Richard Sherman, he's been gone for a couple of seasons now. And, Coach, you just take a look at the Seattle team. My question is, yes, they're going to be talented, but do they have enough to actually be a championship contender?
You know, that's a great question and interesting article. I think, Jordan, if they do, I think that article's not too far off. They lost some people, but I think they've had a pretty good draft. They have a good organization. It's well disciplined. They're used to winning. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. Their division, I think, is going to be a little tougher this year. I think Arizona will be a little tougher, not an absolute gimme. I think the Raiders not the Raiders, but the 49ers are going to be better. And so, they've got a pretty tough road to hoe there. But I think they're going to be a little better football team. I would more or less, I think more so agree with that article that Seattle will probably be improved. Number one, they got a quarterback that is now extremely experienced, and he just makes things happen, and this has become second nature to him.
Now, Coach, is there anybody else? I know we've talked about the Colts before, that they've have improved quite a bit. As a matter of fact, we went over their schedule yesterday. I believe we had them going something along the lines of 11-5 in the regular season. Coach, is there another team that you see as a sleeper dark horse team that, when we get to February of next year, or we get into maybe not February, but when we get into January and we're deep into the postseason, just a few weeks away from the Super Bowl, that we look at as it's a surprise that they're there?
Well, I think there are going to be more surprises with people who do better in the regular season than is expected. Well, when you start getting into playoffs, you're asking an awful lot for, what they have to go through to make it to the playoffs. But I think the Giants are going to be better. Whether they're playoff ready, will be playoff ready, I doubt, but they're going to be much better. I think you have to, as I've said before, I think you have to look out for Oakland now. Oakland has really improved that football team. I don't care what people say, how they break it down. Oakland's a much better football team. Now, whether they can handle it from a coaching standpoint, organizational, and discipline standpoint, we're going to find out pretty quick. But they've got better players, and they're a better football team. I like what, as we've talked about the Colts, always look out for Houston, because they've got a lot of talent and they've got a good coaching staff. So I'm always looking for them. Minnesota, I think Minnesota's got a good football team. I expect Minnesota to be in the playoffs this year. They're a good football team, and they improved their offensive line, which was an absolute must. And I like what they do. I think they're going to be improved. Certainly they've got a good defense. They'll be improved defensively, but their offensive line is certainly going to be improved based on their draft. So I like Minnesota very much.
All right, Coach. Let's move now to an article from Sports Illustrated that is kind of interesting. And basically what they did with this article is they took the AFC East and broke it down team by team and what you can expect for it. And their expectations for the Dolphins and the Jets, basically the headline of the article gives it away. It says AFC East offseason reports, Dolphins, Jets buckling up for bumpy season. Coach, we've talked about both teams here. You tend to feel that both teams, especially Miami, is going to be well improved in the 2019 season, and maybe necessarily don't agree with the way they see the AFC East playing out.
Now, to the extent that they're going to be improved, I don't know. I have said they're going to be an improved football team. I really believe that. I think they hit the gold mine when they got Rosen with the second pick. I think they got at least four people in the draft that are going to be starting for them. Improve their football team that much. So no, they're not ready to compete with New England for the East title, but they're going to be a better football team. They're going to be tough to beat, and I project that Rosen is going to get better and better and better as the year goes by, and will end up being everybody will look at that pick as being a steal. I don't see the Jets being much better. Could be somewhat better because they do have the running back now to take some of the pressure off Darnold. They're going to be, I think, a little improved. But listen, New England's going to be improved. They won the Super Bowl, and I think they're going to be improved. Even losing Gronkowski, they brought on some potent talent. When they got Jamie Collins back as a linebacker, that's a surefire starter that knows what he's doing, knows the system, knows the coaching demands, and has won before for him. He's going to fit right in there. They drafted well. I think they got 4 or 5 people in the draft that are going to play an awful lot for him. You could almost call them starters. I think the kid from Wisconsin, pass rusher. Now, he may not be in there every down, depending on how well he can play the run. We don't know that yet, but he certainly can rush the passer. So he's going to be in there on pass downs. I think, and the receiver that they got from Arizona State, listen, he's a big guy. He can take the top off. He can run. That was a must. He's got a lot of reach and stretch. He catches the ball well. Plus, they picked up the big, tall receiver from Denver, and he's going to help. Those people will help offset the catches that they're going to miss from Gronkowski. That's the big plus. And they got Edelman signed back. So, listen, they're going to be better. They got a couple of offensive linemen that are going to help. They lost. The biggest loss, I think, was Trent Brown, the left tackle. Gronkowski and Trent Brown, those two. But New England's going to be even better, I think, from a talent standpoint.
All right, Coach. And again, of course, obviously New England is going to be the class of that division. And again, as Coach said, I don't really foresee any of the other 3 teams in the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills being able to compete with New England for that division championship. More than likely, if any of those other teams from the AFC East make the playoffs, it's going to have to be a wild card spot, and then they're going to have to play a full length of playoff games in a very tough gauntlet and a very tough conference as you look at it there for the AFC. And Coach, that actually brings up a good question here. We look at college football, and it's the SEC, and then right below the SEC, it's the ACC. Those two are the top of college football. When you look at the NFL, Coach, which side would you say is a little tougher to play in? Is it the AFC or is it the NFC? And I know it's a difficult question to ask for the NFL because both sides are really talented. Both sides have good quality players. But, Coach, you look at the AFC with teams like New England. You've got teams like Kansas City, a team like the Colts who are on the rise, a team like the Raiders who possibly could be on the rise. You've got the Chargers. They're a good team as well. Coach, does the AFC have a little bit more upside than the NFC when it comes to talent and being a tougher conference? Or is it a little bit more closer than what most people would look at?
Well, it's close, number one. There's not much difference, but it's cyclical also. From time to time, you may have a couple of teams that are better talented, more talented than are that many teams in the other conference. Now, it swings back and forth. You've had years where the NFC was just overbearingly talented over the AFC, and then it's been the other way around. So it moves back and forth, really, to be honest with you.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our first time out of the show, and when we come back, we're going to get Mike Vaccaro on the show with us, Coach. He's going to be coming up in just a few minutes right here on Talk Football with Coach K, so that's going to be exciting. Again, we're going to have him on coming up next, right after this, on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
When it comes to the playoffs, coverage is everything. The same applies to the wireless game. With Straight Talk Wireless, you get full nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks, but for up to 50% less than those big carriers charge, for the exact same high-speed networks. It's like getting full-court coverage at half-court prices. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Jordan alongside me, as always, Coach K. And right now we are joined by a very special guest on today's show. And, Coach, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and let you take it away with the introduction.
Will do. We have Mike Vaccaro. And, Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us.
Good to be here with you guys today. I appreciate it.
Mike is the lead sports columnist for the New York Post. Has won over 50 writing awards. Is St. Bonnie graduate. I understand that's in Olean, New York, not far from Buffalo. He's written 3 books, and I understand you were at the Northwest Arkansas Times, there for a while. So you were privy to the Fayetteville goings on there, so a lot in common. I'm going to start. I'm going to start, Mike, by asking you. This is talk football, but we're going to vary. One of the only times we have, but vary just a little. I know you cover the Yankees, and of course, Buck Showalter's a good friend of mine, and from the Pensacola area. Unfortunately, that he's not managing right now because he's done an outstanding job wherever he's been. But these Yankees are amazing. I know you cover the Yankees, and it looks like they're playing Major League Baseball with their AAA club right now. All these young kids. What a surprise to see them doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it really is, Coach. It is. They had a rash of injuries, and they've been able to keep their head, not only above water, but atop the American League East, which is kind of remarkable when you consider the quality of player that really has been playing there most of the last last month or 5 weeks. Lost Aaron Judge, lost Giancarlo Stanton, never started with Didi Gregorius, and they've managed to be able to I guess use the old football philosophy of next man up. They haven't made any excuses for themselves, and the guys who have come in have all played very, very well and played well together. And it's been something to watch. The Yankees are, when they're healthy, they're certainly one of the 2 or 3 teams you expect to make a real run at the World Series this year. And the players who have replaced the injured players have, I think, allowed the season to progress the way they were hoping it would, so that when these guys all come back, they're coming back to a first-place team, which is something they couldn't have possibly have predicted when all these guys started to go down.
Well, that's true. It's got to give them a comfortable feeling. Having these young guys come in and play as they have, and a lot of power there they're getting too. They're knocking the ball out of the park, so it's amazing. Let's jump to football here, if we could, Mike. And I know you very familiar and cover and interested in the New York area, and there are a number of things that are of interest nationwide, really going on there. Let's talk about the Jets situation and how you see that and what you see coming of this. I'm gonna say turmoil. It's pictured as that. I don't think it's that much turmoil. I really don't. But I'll talk about that later. What do you see going on there?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think that whatever's gone on in the front office the last couple of weeks is going to affect the players much. The players knew they were going to be playing for Adam Gase, and they're still going to be playing for Adam Gase. I think that you worry about. I think the only time you worry about the general manager's office is when your agent is trying to negotiate a deal for you. So, from the day to day, for the player standpoint, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference for them. It is a little unorthodox that they allowed Mike McCanyon to conduct run the draft, to sign 9 figures worth of free agents and make a pretty significant pick and also help in hiring the coach, and then fire him. I mean, I think the usual way you do things is to hire somebody first and then let them do all those things. But in terms of where the Jets are, as opposed to where they were before they released Mike McCanyon, I don't think it's going to be much of a difference, because I don't think it affects the players much. That the franchise quarterback that they hope is going to be a franchise quarterback is in place, and that was the biggest thing to establish for them. And now it's a matter of trying to improve on a couple of seasons that have been obviously pretty hard around here.
If the running back comes through the way he is projected to, that's going to take some real heat off that young quarterback and make him better too. I don't quite understand him not being with the football team every minute that he can during these OTAs and whatever. I can't buy that at all.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that would have liked to have seen him kind of be all in from the start. But the Jets knew that they were getting kind of an interesting guy when they signed him. And they were pretty committed to, as you said, to giving Darnold something of a sidekick to be able to take a little bit of the pressure off him. And I think they had to have understood at the beginning that when you sign Le'Veon Bell, that there's certain parts of him that you maybe aren't going to be all on board with. But that's part of the deal you make when you sign a guy like that.
Well, that's true, and I'm not so sure, Mike, that Johnson, the owner there of the Jets, didn't know something about the general manager before all this, the draft and whatever. I think they were just caught in a situation where they had no choice. Somebody had to. He may have been the only guy on the staff anywhere that had a chance to run those things for him. Selecting the coach was the odd thing there. I don't know how much he had to do with it, because I do know that one very strong head coaching candidate that turned the job down quite a while back because of him, because he was the general manager. So I'm not so sure that Johnson didn't know these things, and this was on the ticket to get rid of him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have had any problem at all if he would have been dismissed, in December or January. Certainly, his 4 years on the job were very similar to Todd Bowles' 4 years on the job, and Todd Bowles got fired after last year, and he got fired on merit. His team just weren't very good, and you could argue that I think that Bowles did a better job at his job than McCanyon did at his. So I don't think the issue. A lot of people who care about the Jets is that the general manager got fired. It's that it was kind of an odd time of the year for him to be let go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Their draft too. I really got a couple of question marks there on their draft. I think Williams is a no-brainer. Quentin Williams. There are many people that thought he was maybe the best player in the draft anyway. I'm just not sure Polite, the defensive lineman from Florida, had some real red flags. A lot of questioning in this area about him. Some question marks on the big tackle from USC. I don't know if they got anybody that's gonna start for him other than Quentin Williams, and of course Le'Veon Bell.
And that was really the question I think that a lot of people had about Mike McCann. I mean, obviously, he had some spotty drafts in his previous one. The one real check mark against him was Christian Hackenberg, the Penn State quarterback that he had that they used a second-round draft pick on, and has just been a complete fiasco as a pro. And that's in a lot of ways, McCagney's reputation was tied to the fact that he's so made such a bad choice in making Hackenberg a high draft pick, and that was something that was going to follow him, for the rest of his tenure as a GM until that turned around. And so, there's the one thing that you were always a little bit suspect about him was his draft, because his draft history wasn't very good.
That's for sure. Let's skip over to the Giants, and there's been a lot of questioning of what they did, certainly with the quarterback position. I personally kind of like the pick myself, but what's the scuttlebutt there, Mike?
Well, I think that people are a little underwhelmed by Daniel Jones, but frankly, most of the people who are criticizing Daniel Jones probably never watched him play, or haven't watched him play much. Speaking for myself, I'm a pretty firm believer in letting a draft pick actually prove his worth or prove his lack of worth before you declare it a failed pick. Look, I mean, Dave Gettleman is no babe in the woods. It's not his first rodeo. He understood that that by making this pick, he put himself and his reputation firmly on the griddle. He certainly didn't make the pick with the idea that he wanted to just kind of, make people uncomfortable. I mean, he clearly, in the same way he fell in love with Saquon Barkley, and obviously that was a terrific choice, even though, by doing that, he bypassed a couple of potential franchise quarterbacks last year. Look, I mean, he clearly is just as enamored with Daniel Jones. He thinks that Jones is a worthy successor to Eli Manning. And look, I mean, it's all going to come down. It's very simple. If Jones is equal to the task, and whenever he takes over the reins from Manning, if he's able to be a winning quarterback, then Gettleman's going to be remembered a lot better in retrospect than maybe he is now, by people questioning if maybe they couldn't have done a better job, if maybe they should have gone for defense with that higher pick, if maybe they should have maybe tried to take a chance to see if maybe he would have come around with one of their later picks in the first round. But look, if he turns into a successful quarterback, that's all people are going to remember Dave Gettleman for. In the same way that, for all the good things Ernie Accorsi did with the Giants, the one thing he's always going to be remembered for is that he's the guy who made a point of making Eli Manning a Giant, and that's resulted in 2 championships. So that's what people remember Ernie for around here. So, Dave Gettleman can only hope that that's the kind of reputation that he garners by having picked Daniel Jones.
Yeah, well, there are a number of things that are positive, very positive about Daniel Jones. And you're right, a lot of people have not really seen him play, being at Duke, but a long-time starter there, got a lot of experience under one of the best quarterback coaches in football, Cutcliffe. Certainly, he played behind a questionable offensive line, so he's had to face the big rushes and so on, and still be efficient. He's got all the size and strength. He may not have the strongest arm in the draft, but he's got a lot of accuracy. I like the way he, and talking with a number of people, and I watched every quarterback in the draft, and even watched some of the tape on him. I liked him, and most of the people that I talked to liked Jones. So I think there's some other people that liked him too, because I double checked that rumor about another club maybe taking him if they didn't go ahead and get him with the 6th pick, and that seems to be. It seems to be, I won't say absolutely, but it seems to be true that there may have been another club around 10 or 11 that was going to take Jones. And listen, the old thing, Mike, if you fall in love with a quarterback and you think he's your guy, you do whatever you got to do to get him. And That's what they did. This is the guy they liked. I think they came out of this draft in great shape. I see 4 starters right off the bat. Well, St. Jones is a starter in a year from now, or a year and a half, or whatever, 2 years. But I see.
Go
ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I would agree with that. And I think that's the thing that, I think allows people to, give Dave Gettleman the benefit of the doubt with his decision to take Daniel Jones is the fact that, the one thing that you can point to with Gettleman's past drafts with Carolina and just his reputation as a football man is that he clearly knows how to identify talent, and he knows how to assemble it. He knows how to get it in the draft. And I'm with you. I think their overall draft is really strong at a time in their history when they really needed to just add good football players. They're just, it seems simple to say, but they've gone 3-11-5 or 3-13-5 and 11 back to back because they just have had a dearth of good football players. You need the talent infusion, and I think that he's done that to be able to. The Giants right now are a lot more talented football team than they were in the last day of the season last year, and that's a credit to Gettleman, no matter what you think about Daniel Jones.
Couldn't agree with you more. I really do. Dexter Lawrence, a big defensive tackle from Clemson, is a starter and will do a heck of a job for him. Baker, the cornerback from Georgia, is going to be a starter. The defensive end from Old Dominion, according to people I've talked to, I haven't seen him that much, but according to people I've talked to, he's going to be a starter, at least if he's not the first of the season. He will be. There's some people that really like him. There's some people that really like Julian Love, the cornerback from Notre Dame. So he got some people in the draft. He really did.
And that's when the Giants won their the first of these 2 most recent Super Bowls, a lot of people still get on Jerry Reese for the job he did as a general manager. But in his first draft, all 6 guys he picked, they all wound up playing a major role on that Super Bowl winning team. And that draft was one of the reasons why they went from being middle of the pack to a Super Bowl worthy team. And so, the Giants fans should know better than anybody just how important, being successful on draft day can be if you get the right guys. And I think that's one thing they're hoping that Dave Gettleman was able to have done here.
Right. Well, thinking about that East, over there, the AFC East, I'm sorry. Look just north of you there. New England is obviously the class of maybe the whole league, the whole NFL. But New England got better. They got better in the draft. And by virtue of the fact that they signed their linebacker, Jamie Collins, back, that's going to help them as well. But they desperately needed that receiver. And the thing about Khalil Harry, the receiver from Arizona State, he's not only big with long arms, good hands, catches the ball well, jumps well, is a talented receiver, but he can run. And they needed somebody that could take the top off. They got a starting defensive back in Williams out of Vanderbilt. A lot of people felt he was maybe a first rounder. The defensive lineman, pass rusher, a kid, he probably won't start, but he will play on passing downs. Winovich, from Michigan. Damian Harris, the running back from Alabama, is a good running back. They got better. They got better, and they're a Super Bowl winning team.
And that'll depress everybody thinking that the Patriots, who are already pretty good, have gotten better, right?
Sure. Well, I think Miami got a little better too. They're not to the extent that they can compete with the Patriots, but I think they got a steal in Rosen, an absolute steal. Second round, with most of the money, not their obligation. You got to be kidding me.
Well, the thing about life in the AFC East is that you're forever comparing. At some point, there's going to be a team that's going to unseat them, and I think the other 3 teams in the division, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills, all have to hope that they'll be able to put themselves in a position where if the Patriots ever do take a step back, they're in the position to be able to unseat them. But, we're waiting for 15 years for that to happen. It hasn't happened yet. I'm not so sure that we're ready for that to happen in, this year and maybe even next year yet.
Yeah, there's some people that are putting some credence in Buffalo's but the Buffalo Bills come back. I don't really see that right now. I don't think they're positioned to do so from a talent standpoint and otherwise. I'll tell you, if we, Mike, if you've got just a minute and would allow us to take a couple of minutes here on a break, and come back, I would appreciate it.
No problem, Coach.
All right, we'll take a quick time out. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next, right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Pros know doing it right means buying in bulk to save time and save money too. Lowe's does it right by stocking job lot quantities of fence pickets, posts, and concrete every day. And at 5% savings when you buy in bulk. Save time by ordering ahead at lowesforpros.com. We offer job site delivery 7 days a week, so save even more time by having your order delivered. For the supplies you need to give your customers a fence they'll love. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. See ProDesk for details, U.S. only.
Mike, where'd you get that stadium seat?
Finding game tickets is hard, Trey, but being there is so much better than not being there. So I replaced my regular seat with the stadium seat to try and recreate that stadium atmosphere.
I appreciate the effort, but I got a better idea. Use Vivid Seats to find tickets to the game. They make finding the seats that you want quick and easy.
Sounds like getting tickets at Vivid Seats would have been the easier option.
It always is.
Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats. Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. We'll now rejoin our interview already in progress between Coach K and Mike Vaccaro.
Okay, appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for hanging on there. You still with us, Mike? I think Mike may have taken a break, but I'm sure he'll be back on shortly. I'd like to get into with him a little on the NFC East. Of course, he's being a reporter there and working with the Giants quite a bit. He's certainly got an affiliation with the NFC East, so maybe we'll get some information
And we'll see if he pops back up. But the NFC East coach, you mentioned it, it's definitely going to be a division that a lot of people are going to have their eye on. Not just the whole Daniel Jones, Eli Manning situation with the Giants, but also you look at Dwayne Haskins with the Redskins as well. So the quarterback situation is really going to – and even Dak Prescott still not signing a deal yet with the Dallas Cowboys, still trying to kind of counteroffer what they're bringing to him. So, Coach, the quarterback position definitely people are keeping an eye on inside the NFC East.
And don't forget about Philadelphia, Philadelphia is a good football team.
That's right.
They've got an outstanding defense. They're well organized. They're doing a good job there. And I thought it was interesting the other day. One of the ESPN sports analysts said that he felt that predicted that Wentz would be the most valuable player in the NFL this year. So that's kind of interesting that he would make that prediction. I think Wentz is going, if he doesn't get hurt, is going to be an outstanding quarterback, and I think he's going to be certainly one of the best. They have some good young quarterbacks now in the league, and it's just unfortunate that he got hurt. He was on the way to being most valuable player in the league last year when he got hurt. So I really feel like he's a plus. Like you said, in Washington, they have Haskins, who looks as though he's going to be a top flight quarterback in the league. Throws the ball extremely well, and Dallas, as you say, they've got Dak Prescott. I think they'll get that deal done with him right away, and they should be in good shape. So, at any rate, it's going to be an interesting division. That Eastern division always is, and a new team wins it most every year.
Absolutely.
It's from worst. This is a division that you see a lot of worst to first in the NFC East division. I think the league as a whole, if you look, and it'd be very interesting to hear, how Mike looks at the league as a whole, because I think we have some teams that are going to come up. I think we're going to have some that are projected right now to do well, that are going to sink to a certain extent. I think there's a good chance that the LA Rams are not going to have the same year they had last year. I really believe that. I think a lot of people caught up with them, and certainly the Patriots showed the blueprint in the Super Bowl on how to play these people. You cannot let them get away with two-man routes down the field and max protecting the quarterback. Can't do it. And the Patriots shut that off completely. And if they don't get their running back from big kid, what's his name, from Georgia?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley. If they don't get him back, they're really going to be scratching to find something that would duplicate what he did during the year. And unfortunately, he was kind of banged up, playoffs in the Super Bowl. But the Rams could slide. Dallas could slide. I think I don't see Dallas as being a real stable type of situation, but we'll see. I think the Saints are very, very strong. I see them staying at the top of the NFC right now. I don't see any other team as strong as the Saints. How about you?
Not really, Coach. I think if I'm going to pick a team, if I'm going to put a pinpoint on a team that could be right there with the Saints, obviously you've got to look at a team like the New England Patriots. They're going to be close with them right there at the top of the NFL. I think a lot of people expected it to be a New Orleans-New England Super Bowl this past season. We know why that didn't happen, obviously. I'm not trying to bring that up and make that a conversation, but I say that to bring up the point that I have a very strong feeling that this year's Super Bowl, New England will be representing the AFC, and New Orleans will actually get into it representing the NFC, and I think we'll get that New England, New Orleans, Tom Brady, Drew Brees Super Bowl that we wanted to see last season. We didn't get to see it. I think we actually see it this year. That's the two top teams inside the NFL, and you got to expect when all things are said and done and the championship game gets here, those are probably going to be the two teams that we see there.
Well, there are a lot of things that could happen, and it's very difficult to even look beyond all the stumbling blocks that could happen on the way to the Super Bowl. But you're right. If you had to pick two teams right now, one from the NFC and one from the AFC, it would be those two. And quite frankly, we should have. You're right. We should have seen that in last year's Super Bowl, and that would be a matchup. Tom Brady against Breeze, I think, would be an all-time watched Super Bowl. But the other team that I'm kind of intrigued with right now, Jordan, is their rumblings. To me, it's like you hear rumblings before, or maybe before a volcano.
Right.
But their rumblings out there in Oakland right now, to me, it's hard to believe that they have improved just from a football talent and experience standpoint. Better football players on the field. It's hard for me to believe how much they've improved or how many they have available to them. Now, I'm going to tell you, from being a former head coach, if somebody told me I could pick up two All-Pros and put them on the left side of my offensive line, right away I'd say that's great. Let me have that. That'd be great for an off season.
Right. Yeah.
They did that, and in spades. Not only All-Pro, but maybe the best in the league. And they may be the best in the league at that. Improve their center position. Got some people believe is the best receiver in the league. I don't know that that's true, but he certainly is a game breaker and a big play maker. They helped themselves in the draft totally. I think they got 4 or 5 additional starters in the draft, and don't count out. So there's somebody they down in the 5th round. This Hunter Renfrow kid out of Clemson could be another Edelman. That's his forte. Get in the slot and make people miss, and quick feet and move around and catch the football well. Smart kid. He's going to know what he's supposed to do all the time. So listen, they have helped themselves. The key to me is whether how much discipline they have, how much control they have over teaching and making sure that the players get the message on not only how to control themselves on and off the field, but also handle the different systems. I know Chuck E. Cheese has a fairly complicated offensive system, a lot of calls, but his quarterback should be used to that by now because he's had him for a year. That's another plus. So they look pretty good. I don't want to overrate them, but doggone, I tell you what, you gotta look pretty long and hard at that.
I tell you what, Coach, let's go ahead and keep the conversation on the Raiders here and take a long and hard look at their schedule for the 2019 season, Coach. Obviously, this is going to be an interesting year for them, as you mentioned, with all the talent they bring in. All eyes are going to be on Oakland and how they handle it. And, Coach, they're going to start it off September 9th with an AFC West game. As a matter of fact, back-to-back AFC West games. They are actually going to go or stay at home, and they're going to welcome in the Denver Broncos to get it started on September 9th.
Well, what an interesting opener that's going to be. Denver thinks they've hit a home run, and Oakland thinks they've hit a home run. So I got to give Oakland, I got to give them the edge there at home. That first ball game, that's going to be a tough one, but I think they hold out.
All right, Coach. They stay at home the next week, September 15th, and they welcome in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City's probably too far ahead of them right now. Even though I'll tell you what, don't count them out. Do not count them out. But you got to give Kansas City. They're a little too far ahead right now to back off them.
All right, Coach. Now they head on the road for a couple of weeks, starting with Minnesota Vikings on the September 22nd in Minnesota.
Well, tough schedule. I just have to think Minnesota at home with what they've got. With what they've got going, improved offensive line, they'll be running the football more. I think Minnesota takes that at home.
All right, Coach. How about now going on the road on the 29th to the Indianapolis Colts?
We're getting a tough schedule here. for sure. On the road with the Colts, I got to give the Colts the edge there, because I really like that football team too. But I got to give them the edge there at home against the Raiders.
All right, Coach. Coming up, Week 5, October 6th. It's the return of the Mac. Khalil Mack makes his return back to Oakland as a member of the Chicago Bears.
Now, is this their open week? They're coming off their open game, or is it
Their bye week is after the game against Chicago.
They're at home. I think they're going to take the Chicago Bears. I really do. I think they maybe start a little run here.
All right, that would put them at 2-3 heading into their bye week there on Week 6. And on that note, as their bye week, we'll take a quick timeout. It's our final timeout. When we come back, we'll continue to wrap up the Oakland Raiders schedule on today's show. Coming up next, right here on Talk Football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. If you're tailgating before the game, don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. We are continuing to look at the Oakland Raiders schedule here, Coach. We got about 8 minutes left in the show. We've got 11 games to get through here, so let's move through these not too fast, but still at a quick pace here, Coach. We'll get it back started after their bye week, October 20th. They go on the road to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers with a 2-3 record.
I like Oakland against Packers, even though they're on the road. I think Packers may may have a little problem with all the changeover they've had up there. They had this year.
All right, Coach, they'll stay on the road to head to Houston now to NRG Stadium where they'll take on the Texans.
Again, Texans may be in for a little rough year. I'm gonna go Raiders here. I just think there are too many ways that they can win. Now they're on the road again there, huh?
They are, yes, sir.
Oh,
they are finally back home in Oakland on November 3rd for Week 9. They'll take on the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, they should beat the Lions there. They're probably going to lose one of those two ball games on the road. We just went over one of the two, but let's go on with the Lions. They win.
All right, Coach, and then they'll stay at home for another couple of weeks, actually. They'll take on the L.A. Chargers on November 7th for Week 10.
I think they're going to beat the L.A. Chargers. I think they catch and pass the Chargers this year.
All right, Coach. Then the Cincinnati Bengals will come into Oakland on the 17th.
I think they beat the Bengals. Yeah, and that's not going to be a very difficult job for them to do right there. I think they beat them handily.
All right, Coach. 7-3, heading back out on the road for a November 24th date against the New York Jets.
You just look at the talent they have, and they're better. They're better than the Jets. There's no question about that. They should win that ball game.
All right, Coach. Then they leave New York, and they are staying on the road, but now they're heading to Kansas City, another divisional game. It's their second game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs. This time it's at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, Chiefs at home. That's getting close to playoff time. Chiefs at home should win that ball game. If Oakland does go in there and win that game against the Chiefs, they'll definitely be in the playoffs and will probably go deep in the playoffs.
All right, Coach. Then they'll return back to Oakland December 8th, and this is when they'll be taking on the Tennessee Titans. Coach Marcus Mariota, or maybe it even could be Ryan Tannehill at that point in the season. We're not entirely sure for the Tennessee Titans, but, Coach, the Titans will be coming into Oakland. Oakland will be sitting with an 8-4 record, Coach. You got to think that the Raiders are feeling good, especially after the way last year went.
Yeah, I think they beat the Titans there. I really do.
All right, Coach. Then their next game coming up, Nick Foles will head to Oakland with the Jacksonville Jaguars on December 15th for a date against the Oakland Raiders.
I think I really think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a turnaround year. And I think they go out and win this ball game because it's right. It is. They're going to be in the right into the ebb of playoff contention, one way or the other. They have to. I think it's going to be a situation where they have to go win it to stay in there. So yeah, let's give it to Jacksonville.
All right, Coach. That will drop them to a 9-5 record on the year, Coach. Still a excellent record for them as they wrap up the season with last two games on the road. They'll be heading to L.A. to take on the Chargers on it. It's still kind of a date that's up in the air right now as far as the way it's listed on the NFL.com. Still don't have a date for this game, but they do know that week they will be playing the Chargers.
Now this is where the bread is going to be buttered or not. Right here, they got two division teams.
Right.
Playoffs are going to be on the line. The Chargers and the Broncos, here's where coaching really comes in. Depending on how well they're disciplined and ready to come down the stretch and win two football games right here, they could easily lose these two. I'm gonna put them down for losing these two ball games right here.
All right, Coach. So we'll go ahead and give them a loss for the game against the Chargers, and then the next game would be December 29th on the road against Denver. Coach, that would put them at 9-7 on the year. You got to look at the way they finished last year. What was it, 2-10? That's a big time turnaround for John Gruden. They're in year two.
Big time turnaround, and that may put them in the that may put them in the playoffs.
You're absolutely right, Coach. 9-7 could get them a wild card spot, if not even a possible spot as the AFC West champions. So, Coach, the Oakland Raiders are a team that could be taking that big step forward. Coach, is there a team that you foresee? I know you mentioned the Rams earlier, maybe taking a step back.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility Dallas could take a step back. They're always teams that from last year. They could handle things a little differently, and you got to look at the Rams, Dallas. I think you might have to look at there may be a chance, depending on how Washington handles Haskins. The Redskins could take a step back if they're not careful with a changeover there in a young quarterback. Chances are they won't, but they very easily could. I don't think the Saints will take a step back at all. And in fact, I think they'll hold court where they are. Interesting to see how the Browns do. This year, everybody talking about Jordan, about them going to the Super Bowl. I don't buy that. But I think they're going to be a good football team and probably challenged for playoffs. They may get into playoffs this year, which would be a big plus for them. So that's about it right now. It's just too early to even tell. Injuries are going to play a lot, big part of it.
And Coach, I want to talk about the Arizona Cardinals for a second, because right now Kyler Murray, there's an article on NFL.com talking about Kyler Murray drawing comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. Coach, is it a little early to be doing this? Because in my mind, I look at this and go, he hasn't even played it down in the NFL yet. Just because he looks like a one way in practice, that doesn't mean he's going to translate and look that way in a game. So, Coach, is this a little early to be comparing Kyler Murray to a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who literally just set the NFL on fire last year with everything he did?
Well, keep in mind the press, they're looking for anything and everything that they can discuss. Now, and another thing, he favors him. He's a short guy who can run around, do some things, got a quick release. So he favors him in a lot of ways physically. And I think that's why the comparison is being made right now.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Talk Football. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys have a great Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season. Plus